I'm going to get right to the rip.
Go ahead.
Because I met you as a producer.
Correct.
I brought Nipsey Hussle to come work with you.
That's it.
So my thing, top 3 producers. Drama's top 3 producers of all time. Your opinion.
My opinion. I don't want to be too unoriginal here.
Be original. Be yourself.
I'd say Timbaland is definitely on there. I would say... I feel like he's been a little slow on the hits lately, at least as far as I've heard, but Danger...
No problem.
Man,
amazing.
He had at least he had a run where he was just crushed.
He could come back tomorrow, so it don't matter. He made a lot of history. So
yeah. And what I will say is that even though, and I'm going to be dead honest with you here, even though for a while I kind of hated on Pharrell, and I feel like Pharrell is a pretty obvious choice, but because I feel like he went through a long period of time where he just refused to change his sound. I do think that this year he figured out how to change his sound, and he figured out how to make some of the biggest records in history. So I have to say Pharrell. And I will say I was walking around Soho last week, and it seems like every retailer is doing a collection or a collaboration with Pharrell. So simply his ability to...
He always comes back. Came back with Happy. So
man, he had years where he was just making the same beats. And I remember hearing Rick Ross and Young Jeezy records that didn't make their albums. And I'm like, man, you have to stop using the same sounds off your little Triton. Like, you got to download some shit. He figured it out. Yeah.
What made you want to produce records?
You want to know, I grew up in Ohio, and my dad was in a band that traveled the world playing drums, and he actually quit the band and kind of quit his dreams a little bit because my mom got pregnant with my older brother. So my whole life there was drum sets around the house, always. My dad now plays in the church band, whatever. So we just learned how to play the drums and fell in love with the drums because they were always there and whatever. But in Ohio, there's not really a cool outlet for that skill set, right? You join the high school band, which I tried, which sucks. Or you start a band with your friends, which nobody comes to listen to. It's just bad. So really what happened is I kind of had these skills, and when I moved to LA, I'm going to be honest, when I moved to LA, I was just full of ambition, but didn't really know where to put it.
Right.
So I was just trying everything. So I really, I went over to my boy's house, and he had a keyboard set up with some speakers, and that was the first time I realized you could produce beats without $1 million studio. So I sat and messed around on it, and it's all those basic skills that I had from playing the drums, and really I just fell in love with it. I spent all the money I had at that time on a Korg Triton keyboard, and I just loved it.
Well, let me tell you something. I used to play the drums when I was 13.
Mm-hmm.
You know Buddy Richards?
Yep.
So it was like an idol of mine.
Yeah, that was my
And then later on, I wound up managing Steven Adler from Guns N' Roses.
Yep.
And I have a great Peace drum set. Peace, it's a brand in my living room right now.
Incredible.
Brand new they gave me.
I need to do that one day, just to remind myself of home. Just put a drum set on.
Who's your mentor?
I think the obvious answer is my cousin Rob. But really, if we're being honest, I would say that what Rob did is Rob showed me what was possible, is really what he did. And that's priceless information, and that's, But one thing that I'll give him credit for now, I don't think he meant to do it, but is he showed me what's possible, and then he said, go ahead and do it if you want to do it. He did not help me or baby me or whatever. And at the time, I hated him for it. I'm talking 6 years ago. I was like, man, what the fuck? Like, you're helping everybody. Why wouldn't you help me? So anyway, but he showed me what's possible, and then he let me go do it. And I'd say along the way, I've had probably 10 or 12 new, mini mentors in each. My partner, D, who in Young and Reckless, huge mentor of mine. He showed me how the whole manufacturing, production, how all that works.
Right. It shows you anything's possible. And Jam Master Jay told me the same thing.
Yeah.
Go out there and take advantage of me and take those opportunities. And I was going to ask you who's your fashion mentor. So you said D.
Yeah.
Salute. D's amazing. 5'4", Young and Ruckus been great. Who's your mentor in music? Because as a producer, you had to have a mentor. Those are your favorite producers. That I didn't say mentor. So who's your mentor? What inspired you to produce? What you said? You know what? DJ Premier, DJ Scratch.
Yeah.
Rick Rock. Whoever. Dr. Dre. Just went out and started producing because.
I'm gonna have to. As far as I haven't personally spoke to him much, but once again, Pharrell probably, because what I loved about Pharrell is when I first started producing, actually the kid who introduced me to the producer was Terry Kennedy.
Oh, okay.
Pro skateboarder
of course. Good friend of mine.
Rode for Pharrell's
TK.
skate team.
Yeah.
So what happened was, in that same period, I would go to the studio with him, and I'd be just around Pharrell and just watching him do what he does. And he's like, you know, so out there. Sometimes he's hard to even have a conversation with, but it's because he has like this mission and he knows where he's going, you know. And that always just inspired me so much that he was able to. There's a lot of producers, and I have nothing wrong with them, but there's a lot of producers who just sit in their basement and they're big slobs and they make great beats, but that's all they do is make beats. Right. Pharrell has been able to, you know, constantly stay on top, reinvent himself, do collabs with Sephora. He has a collab with Sephora.
Stays relevant and he stays innovative.
On The Voice, able to do all these things and keep authenticity.
Right.
And so once again, I'd have to say,
That's
and
right.
then once again, same thing. Along the way, there's been a lot of people that helped me and a lot of people that show me new things. But as far as some sort of kind of hero in that aspect of it,
define success to you.